The cold wind cut across the settlement as Tae-sung walked home. His boots made soft sounds on the dirt path. The sun was setting behind the mountains, painting the sky orange and purple. He carried a bag of supplies on his shoulder. Just basic things. Rice, dried meat, some vegetables. Nothing special. Tae-sung lived alone on the edge of the colony. His cabin was small, but enough for one person. He liked the quiet. After 20 years in the Terran Defense Forces, he wanted peace. No more orders. No more battles. Just simple repair work and long, empty evenings. He was tired today. Old Hyunwoo's water pump had taken 3 hours to fix. His back hurt. His hands were dirty with machine oil. All he wanted was a hot shower and some food. But something was wrong. Tae-sung stopped walking. His eyes moved to the storage shed beside his cabin. The door was slightly open. He always locked that door. Always. His soldier instincts kicked in immediately. Someone was on his property. He set down his supplies carefully. Without making noise, he went inside his cabin and grabbed his old service rifle from the closet. The weapon felt familiar in his hands. Heavy. Real. He checked it quickly. Loaded. Tae-sung moved toward the shed slowly. His boots barely made any sound now. He had done this 1,000 times before in combat zones. Approach quietly. Assess the threat. React. He heard something. A small sound. Like breathing. Fast, nervous breathing. Tae-sung kicked the shed door fully open and raised his rifle. Come out. For a moment, nothing happened. Then he heard movement behind the supply crates. Something big shifted in the shadows. I said, come out, Tae-sung repeated. His voice was calm but firm. A shape emerged from the darkness. Tae-sung's finger moved closer to the trigger, then stopped. It was a dragon, not a full-grown one. A young one. A teenager. Maybe. Her scales were dull, gray-blue, not shining like healthy Drakai scales should be. Her wings hung limp against her sides, torn in several places. She was thin. Too thin. Her ribs showed through her scales. The young dragon's eyes were wide with fear. She held up her clawed hands in a gesture that needed no translation. Please don't shoot. I'm not dangerous, she said in broken Galactic Common. Her voice shook. Just hungry. Tae-sung kept his rifle pointed at her, but his mind was racing. A Drakai. Here. On his property. This was bad. Very bad. The colony had strict rules about dragons. They were considered dangerous predators. Most people shot them on sight, out here on the frontier. He should call colonial security right now. That was the law. That was the smart thing to do. But Tae-sung looked at her face. She wasn't snarling. She wasn't preparing to attack. She was just scared. A scared kid who was starving. He saw her legs trembling, saw how she could barely stand. This dragon hadn't eaten properly in a long time. You got a name? Tae-sung asked. He didn't lower his rifle yet. The dragon blinked in surprise. Maybe she expected him to shoot immediately. Hana, she whispered. How long since you ate, Hana? 4 days. Maybe 5. Her voice was so quiet he barely heard it. Tae-sung stood there for a long moment. Every logical part of his brain screamed at him. Send her away. Call security. Protect yourself. Harboring a Drakai was illegal. If anyone found out, he would face serious charges. But he remembered things. Bad things. A village on the border world of Kepler-7. Orders to clear the area. They said it was a military target, but when his unit went in, they found civilians. Drakai families. Not soldiers, just people trying to survive. He remembered the faces. The eyes of Drakai children looking up at human soldiers. He remembered the nightmares that followed. The reason he left the military 3 years ago. Tae-sung lowered his rifle. Come inside, he said. I'll make some food. Hana stared at him like he had spoken in an alien language. What? You heard me. Come on. Before I change my mind. He turned and walked toward his cabin. Behind him, he heard her hesitant footsteps. She followed slowly, probably expecting a trap. Inside the cabin, Tae-sung put his rifle back in the closet. He locked it. Then he went to the kitchen and started pulling out food. Protein rations, dried meat, some fresh vegetables from his small garden. Hana stood in the doorway, not coming further inside. Her claws scratched nervously against the floor. Sit down, Tae-sung said, pointing to a chair. Why are you helping me? Hana asked. Her voice was suspicious now, not just scared. Because you're hungry, Tae-sung said simply. He started cooking. The kitchen filled with the smell of frying meat and vegetables. Humans kill my kind. Some do, Tae-sung admitted. He didn't look at her while he cooked. Some of your kind killed humans too. War is like that. Ugly. Stupid. You were a soldier. It wasn't a question. She could tell somehow. Maybe the way he moved. Maybe the scars on his arms. Yeah, Tae-sung said. Long time ago. You killed Drakai. Now he did look at her. His eyes were hard but honest. Yes. I did. Following orders. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make me proud. Ah, Hana's tail twitched. She was deciding whether to run or stay. I'm not going to hurt you, Tae-sung said. If I wanted to, I would have already. You're weak right now. Couldn't fight even if you wanted to. I could try, Hana said, but there was no real threat in her voice. Sure you could. But you won't. Because you're smart. And because that food smells good. Despite everything, despite her fear and suspicion, Hana's stomach growled loudly. She looked embarrassed. Tae-sung almost smiled. Almost. He filled a large bowl with food and set it on the table. Eat. Slowly. You'll get sick if you eat too fast after starving. Hana approached the table carefully. She sat down, her large frame making the chair look tiny. She picked up the bowl with her clawed hands and started eating. Tae-sung was right to warn her. She tried to eat fast, desperately, but he made her slow down. Small bites. Wait between them. It took her 20 minutes to finish the bowl. When she was done, she looked up at him with something new in her eyes. Not fear, not suspicion. Something softer. Thank you, she said quietly. You're welcome. Why? Hana asked again. Really? Why help me? You don't know me. Tae-sung sat down across from her. He looked tired suddenly, older than his 42 years. Because somebody has to, he said. Wars end when people decide they end. Not governments. Not generals. People. One choice at a time. I'm a Drakai. You're a kid who was hungry. That's all I saw. Hana looked down at her claws. Colonial security will come if they find out I'm here. Probably. They'll arrest you. Probably. You'll lose everything. Tae-sung shrugged. I don't have much to lose. This cabin, some tools, a quiet life. But what's a quiet life worth if I can't sleep at night because I turned away someone who needed help? Outside, the night had fully arrived. The settlement was quiet, except for distant voices and the hum of generators. You can sleep in the workshop shed tonight, Tae-sung said. It's warmer than outside. Tomorrow we'll figure something out. Figure out what? How to keep you alive. How to find your family. Hana stood up slowly. She was still weak, but the food had helped. I don't understand humans, she said. Most days I don't either. Tae-sung replied. He showed her to the workshop shed. He brought out blankets and a pillow. The space was small, but dry and warm. Lock the door from inside, he told her. Don't come out until morning. If you hear people, stay quiet and hidden. Tae-sung, Hana said his name carefully. If this causes you trouble, it will cause trouble. he interrupted. But that's my choice. Not yours. Sleep now. He left her there and returned to his cabin. Inside, he sat down heavily in his chair. His hands were shaking slightly. Not from fear, from the weight of what he had just done. In the morning, everything would change. Someone would notice. Someone always noticed in a small colony. And then, the real problems would begin. But tonight, a hungry kid had food and shelter. Tonight, Taesung had made a choice that let him look at himself in the mirror. That would have to be enough. Morning came with golden light across the settlement. Taesung woke up early like always. Old military habits never died. He made coffee and stood on his porch, watching the sun rise over the mountains. He thought about the young dragon sleeping in his workshop shed. Part of him wondered if she had run away during the night. Maybe that would be easier. No complications. No risks. But when he walked to the shed and knocked gently, he heard movement inside. "Hana? You awake?" "Yes." Her voice was uncertain through the door. "I'm making breakfast. Come inside when you're ready." He returned to the cabin and cooked more food. Eggs from his small chicken coop. More rice. Some fruit. Simple food. But there was plenty of it. Hana appeared at the door a few minutes later. She looked better than last night. Her eyes were clearer. Her scales seemed a tiny bit brighter. One good meal and one safe night's sleep had helped. "Sit," Taesung said. "Eat." They ate in silence at first. Taesung didn't push conversation. He learned in the military that sometimes quiet was better than forced talking. Now. But Hana had questions. He could see them building behind her eyes. "How long can I stay?" she finally asked. "Don't know yet," Taesung said honestly. "Depends on a lot of things. The other humans will find out. Probably. This is a small colony. People notice things. Then why? Because right now, you're here and you're safe. We'll deal with tomorrow when it comes." Hana looked down at her food. "I was separated from my clan 3 months ago. We were traveling to the neutral zone. Refugee transport. But there was an accident. Engine failure. The ship had to make emergency stops. Some of us got left behind, at different stations. Where was your clan headed?" "New Drakai settlement, far side of human space. We were supposed to be safe there." Her voice was bitter. "But nothing is safe for my kind in human territory." Taesung didn't argue. She was right. The war had ended officially. 5 years ago. But hate didn't end with treaties. "I tried to contact them," Hana continued. "But communications are expensive. I had no money. No identification papers. Station security kept moving me along. Eventually, I ended up here. I thought maybe I could work, earn enough for passage. But nobody would hire a Drakai. How did you survive?" "Stole food when I could. Ate from trash containers. Hid during the day. Moved at night." She looked ashamed. "I'm not a thief by nature. But hunger makes you do things." "No judgment here," Taesung said. "Survival is survival." They finished eating. Taesung showed her where the bathroom was. Human facilities. But she could manage. When she came back, he was cleaning the dishes. "I can help," Hana offered. "You know how to fix things?" Taesung asked. "Some things. My father was a ship mechanic." "Good. I've got work to do today. You can help if you want." Better than sitting around worrying. They spent the morning in his workshop. Taesung had 3 broken generator units that needed repair. Colony work. Nothing complicated, but time-consuming. Hana watched him work at first. Then she started handing him tools. Then she started helping with the actual repairs. Her clawed hands were surprisingly gentle with delicate parts. "Your father taught you well," Taesung said. "He was good at his work, patient. Always said, machines made more sense than people." Her voice went quiet. "He died 2 years ago. Orbital strike. He was on a civilian transport." Taesung's hands stopped working. He knew about those strikes. He had been part of the fleet that authorized some of them. The Drakai had hit human transports too. Back and forth, revenge and counter-revenge. The war had been ugly on both sides. "I'm sorry," he said. "Why?" The question was direct. Painful. Tae-sung looked at her. "I don't know. Maybe. I was part of operations that hit your ships. We were told they were military targets. Sometimes we were told wrong. Sometimes we knew and followed orders anyway." Hana's eyes blazed for a moment. Anger, real anger. Then it faded to something sadder. "My mother says hate is heavy. Too heavy to carry forever. Your mother is wise. She's also dead. Same strike that killed my father." They worked in silence after that. But it wasn't an angry silence. It was the silence of two people who had both lost too much to the same stupid war. Over the next few days, a routine developed. Tae-sung would wake up early, make food. Hana would help him with repair work during the day. They would eat together in the evening. She slept in the workshop shed. He learned things about her. She was 16 by Drakai counting. She liked music, especially the strange flute-like instruments her people made. She missed flying. Her wings were damaged from a fall 3 weeks ago, and they hadn't healed properly because she wasn't eating enough. "Wings need protein to heal," she explained. "Good. Protein. I haven't had that in months." Tae-sung started buying extra meat. Expensive, but necessary. He told the supply clerk it was for his dog. The clerk gave him a strange look. Everyone knew Tae-sung didn't have a dog. Hana learned things about him too. She noticed he didn't sleep well. Sometimes she heard him wake up in the middle of the night, walking around his cabin. Nightmares, though he never talked about them. She noticed the scars on his arms and back. Burns. Shrapnel wounds. The marks of someone who had been in serious combat. She noticed he was kind but guarded. He would help her, feed her, protect her. But he kept emotional distance, like he was afraid to care too much. One evening, she asked him about it. "Why did you really let me stay?" Hana asked. The truth, not the nice answer. Tae-sung was quiet for a long time. They were sitting on his porch, watching the sunset. He finally spoke. "6 years ago, I was part of a ground operation. Planet called Kepler-7. Border world. We got intelligence that said there was a Drakai military base hidden in a village. My unit went in hard. Fast. We were prepared for soldiers." He stopped. His jaw was tight. "But there were no soldiers," Hana said quietly. She understood where this was going. Families. Old people. Kids. We realized too late. By the time we got the order to pull back, people were already dead. Not many. Maybe 20. But 20 was too many. You killed civilians. My unit did. I was there. I didn't pull the trigger on any of them personally, but I was there. I followed orders that led to it." His voice was flat, empty. "I see their faces sometimes. When I sleep. When I'm alone. I see them." "Is that why you left the military?" "Yeah. Couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't follow orders that might lead to more Kepler. 7 seconds. So I took my discharge and came here. Thought I could find peace in the quiet." "Did you?" "No. Peace isn't a place. It's something you have to make inside yourself. I haven't figured out how. Yet." Hana looked at him with new understanding. "So, you help me because you feel guilty?" "Maybe. Partly." Tae-sung turned to face her. "But also because you're a kid who needed help. Both things can be true." Tae-sung. Tae-sung. "I lost my family to human weapons," Hana said. "I should hate you. I should hate all humans. Do you?" She thought about it. Really thought about it. "I did. For a long time. But hate is exhausting. And you've been kind to me. The first person to be kind in months." Kindness doesn't erase what happened to your family. No. But maybe it means something else can happen. Something different than more hate and more killing. They sat together as darkness fell. The settlement lights came on across the valley. Small and scattered, like stars fallen to earth. Tae Sung, Hana said. If colonial security comes, they will eventually. When they come, I'll tell them you didn't know. That I broke in. That I threatened you. Don't be stupid. I'm serious. You've done enough. You gave me food and safety. That's more than anyone else did. I won't let you be punished for that. Tae Sung shook his head. If they come, we'll deal with it together. I made my choice. I'll stand by it. Why? You barely know me. Because standing by your choices is what makes you who you are. I ran from Kepler 7 inches my head for 3 years. I'm done running. Inside the cabin, Tae Sung's communication terminal beeped. A message. He went inside to check it. It was from his old military contact, Ji Woo. She was a captain now, in the diplomatic corps. He had sent her a coded message 2 days ago, asking about refugee status for a young Drakai. Her response was brief. Working on it. Need time. At least 2 weeks. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. 2 weeks. Could they stay hidden that long in a small colony? Tae Sung doubted it. But they would try. He printed out some documents for Hana. Basic Galactic Standard reading materials. If you're going to stay in human space, you need to read better, he told her. She took them carefully. You think I'll survive that long? We'll make sure you do. That night, Tae Sung heard noise outside. Voices. 2 colonists, walking past his property, heading home from the settlement bar. Did you see Tae Sung buying all that extra meat? One voice said. Yeah, says it's for a dog, but he doesn't have a dog. Maybe he's got something else out there. Like what? I don't know. But it's weird. Their voices faded into the distance. Tae Sung looked toward the workshop shed. Hana was inside, probably hearing the same conversation. Time was running out. The discovery happened on a Thursday morning. Tae Sung was in town picking up supplies when everything went wrong. A delivery driver named Dong Woo was dropping off repair parts at Tae Sung's cabin. The order said to leave them by the workshop shed. Dong Woo was a lazy worker who usually just dropped things and left, but today he needed a signature. He walked around to the workshop to see if anyone was there. Through the window, he saw movement. Something large, something with scales and wings. Dong Woo ran back to his truck and drove straight to Colonial Security. By the time Tae Sung got home an hour later, everything had changed. He saw the crowd before he even reached his property. 20, maybe 30 people, gathered near his cabin. Some were just curious. Others looked angry. Colonial Security Officer Dae Hyun stood at the edge of the crowd, trying to keep order. He was a decent man, but he followed the rules. He had to. Tae Sung pushed through the crowd. People stepped back when they saw him. Some looked at him with disgust, others with confusion. Tae Sung, Dae Hyun said. His voice was professional but not unkind. We need to talk. About what? You know about what? There's a Drakai on your property. The crowd murmured. Some people shouted. It's true then? A woman called out. Her name was Bo Ra. She worked at the school. You're hiding a dragon? Tae Sung didn't answer. He looked toward his workshop shed. The door was closed. No sign of Hana. Good. Maybe she was hiding well. A large man pushed forward. Kyung-min. His face was red with anger. My brother died fighting those things. And you bring one here? To our colony? Kyung-min. To our colony. She's just a kid, Tae Sung said calmly. Not a soldier. Not a threat. They're all threats, Kyung-min shot back. You served in the military. You should know that better than anyone. I do know. That's why I'm telling you she's not dangerous. Officer Dae Hyun stepped between them. Everyone calm down. This is a legal matter. Colonial law requires registration of all alien species classified as potentially dangerous. Drakai are on that list. So what happens now? Tae-sung asked. The dragon needs to be taken into custody. Evaluation. Possible deportation. Back to Drakai space. She's a refugee. She has rights. Maybe. That's for the colonial governor to decide. Not me. Not you. Dae-hyun's voice was firm, but Tae-sung could see something in his eyes. Sympathy. Maybe. Or doubt. I'm not turning her over, Tae-sung said. The crowd erupted. Angry shouts. Accusations. Someone threw a rock. It landed near Tae-sung's feet. This is my property, Tae-sung said, his voice louder now. You're all trespassing. You're breaking the law, someone shouted. Maybe I am. That's between me and colonial security. The rest of you can leave. Nobody moved. Tae-sung walked to his cabin. He went inside and came back out holding his old service rifle. Not aimed at anyone. Just held across his chest. A statement. The crowd went quiet. I'm not threatening anyone, Tae-sung said clearly. But this is my land. I'm asking politely. Leave. Kyung-min took a step forward. You'd point a gun at your own people for a dragon? I'd defend my choices. That's all. Officer Dae-hyun moved forward. Tae-sung, put the weapon down. You're making this worse. I'm making it clear. She's under my protection. The workshop door opened. Hana stepped out. The crowd gasped. Some people moved back. A few reached for their own weapons. Hana looked terrified, but she stood tall. I'll go, she said. Don't hurt him. I'll surrender. No, Tae-sung said without looking at her. Yes. This is my fault. I brought trouble to you. I'm not. My property, my choice, my consequences. Tae-sung finally looked at her. Go back inside. Tae-sung. Now. Hana hesitated, then retreated back into the workshop. But she left the door open. Watching. Officer Dae-hyun stepped closer to Tae-sung. He spoke quietly so only Tae-sung could hear. I respect you. You're a veteran. You served well. But this is suicide. The governor will send a full security team. They won't be gentle. When? Tomorrow morning at the latest. Maybe tonight if Kyung-min keeps pushing. Dae-hyun paused. I can give you 48 hours. That's it. Figure something out. Call in favors. Get her refugee status. Something. But if you're still harboring her after that, I'll have no choice. Why help me at all? Dae-hyun was quiet for a moment. Because maybe you're right. Maybe she is just a scared kid. And maybe I'm tired of following orders that don't sit right in my gut. He stepped back and addressed the crowd. Everyone disperse. This is now an official security matter. Go home. Round the unwells. After APSO. Which state for the pose? APSO. Slowly, reluctantly, the crowd broke up. But Kyung-min stayed behind. This isn't over, he said to Tae-sung. That thing killed my brother. People like you are traitors. Your brother died in a war. Tae-sung said. A war where both sides killed. Both sides lost. Hating her won't bring him back. And protecting her won't erase what you did at Kepler 7. Tae-sung went very still. How do you know about that? I have friends in the military. Friends who remember. They told me about the veteran who couldn't handle the job. Who ran away because he was too weak. Believe what you want. I believe you're a coward. And cowards get people killed. Kyung-min turned and walked away. When everyone was gone, Tae-sung lowered his rifle. His hands were shaking slightly. Not from fear. From adrenaline and anger. Hana came out of the workshop. You shouldn't have done that. Done what? Protected me. Threatened humans for me. I didn't threaten anyone. You had a gun. For show. I wouldn't have used it. But they don't know that. Hana looked at him. I should leave tonight. Disappear. You've done enough. Where would you go? I don't know. Somewhere else. Somewhere where you're not at risk because of me. Taesung went inside his cabin. He pulled out his old military communication unit. Outdated, but still functional. He sent an emergency message to Jiwoo. Need help now. Not 2 weeks. Now. They found her. Coming tomorrow. He didn't expect a fast response. Military communications took time. But 15 minutes later, his terminal beeped. Jiwoo's message was short. I'm 3 days out. Closest I can get. Can you hold that long? 3 days. With a colonial security team coming. With an angry mob, ready to form again. Taesung sent back. We'll try. He looked at Hana. Pack light. Just what you need. We might have to move fast. Move where? I don't know yet. But we're not giving up. That night, Taesung prepared his cabin like he was back in a combat zone. He checked his rifle. Made sure he had medical supplies. Mapped out defensive positions. He wasn't planning to fight colonial security, but other people worried him. Hana watched him work. You really were a soldier. One. Yeah. A good one? Good enough to stay alive. Why did you become a soldier? Taesung thought about it. When I was young, I believed in protecting people. Protecting humanity from threats. The Drakai were the enemy. We were told you wanted to destroy us. Take our worlds. Kill our families. That's what we were told about humans. I know. Both sides lied. Both sides killed. By the time I realized the truth, I had already done things I can't take back. So you protect me to balance the scales? No. You can't balance scales like that. What's done is done. He looked at her directly. I protect you because it's the right thing to do now. That's all. Around midnight, Taesung heard vehicles. He looked out the window and saw 3 trucks parked down the road. People inside. Waiting. We've got company, he said quietly. Hana looked out. Who are they? Trouble. The trucks didn't move closer. They just sat there, watching, making sure Taesung knew they were there. Bounty hunters, Taesung realized. Someone must have called them. What do they want? You. There's money in capturing dangerous aliens and turning them over to corporate security forces, especially Drakai. Some companies pay good money. How much money? Doesn't matter. They're not getting you. But Taesung was worried. Colonial security he could negotiate with. Officer Dae-hyun was reasonable. But bounty hunters followed different rules. No rules. Really. Just profit. He checked his rifle again. Checked the ammunition. He had defensive equipment too. Old military gear he kept from his service days. Flashbangs. Smoke grenades. Non-lethal mostly. But effective. Hana, he said. If shooting starts, you do exactly what I say. Exactly. Understand? You're going to fight them? I'm going to make them regret coming here. There are 3 trucks. Maybe 12 men. I know. You're one person. I'm one human. That's different. Hana didn't understand what he meant. Not yet. But she would. The trucks sat there all night. Waiting. Planning. Taesung didn't sleep. He kept watch from his window. His rifle. Ready. Hana tried to stay awake with him, but eventually exhaustion took her. She slept sitting up in a chair. Her wings folded around her like a blanket. Taesung watched her sleep. This young dragon, who had lost everything. Who trusted him, despite having every reason to hate humans. Who was willing to surrender herself to save him from trouble. He thought about his younger self. The soldier who believed the propaganda. Who thought Drakai were monsters. That version of himself seemed like a stranger now. At dawn, Officer Dae-hyun's vehicle appeared. He got out and walked up to the cabin. Taesung met him at the door. They're bounty hunters, Dae-hyun said quietly. Showed me their licenses. Legal, unfortunately. They have 48 hours before I can intervene on jurisdictional grounds. 2 days. Yeah, after that I can arrest them for harassment. But until then, my hands are tied. They're going to attack before then. I know. I'll patrol nearby. Maybe that will slow them down. But Tae-sung, if they come and you fight back, I can't protect you. I know. Dae-hyun looked past him at Hana. She worth dying for? Nobody's dying. I'm just not letting them take her. Your funeral. But Dae-hyun's voice wasn't hostile. Just sad. Like he knew this was going to end badly. The attack came just after midnight on the second night. Tae-sung had been expecting it. Bounty hunters preferred darkness, less witnesses, easier to claim self-defense if things went wrong. He had prepared accordingly. The first sign was the motion sensor he had placed near the property line. A small beep on his handheld monitor. 3 shapes moving. Coming from the west side, where the tree line provided cover, Tae-sung was ready. He had spent the entire day fortifying his cabin and workshop. Not with heavy barriers, that would have been obvious, but with simple things. Tripwires, noisemakers, defensive positions where he had clear sightlines but attackers had limited cover. Hana was in the workshop with strict instructions. Stay low. Stay quiet. Only move. If he gave the signal. How many? She had asked earlier. 3 coming now. Probably more in the trucks. As backup. What will you do? Make them wish they stayed home. Through his window, Tae-sung watched the 3 shapes approach. They moved like professionals. Spreading out. Using hand signals. Former military. Probably. Lots of bounty hunters were. But professional didn't mean smart. And it definitely didn't mean they understood what they were dealing with. The first hunter tripped the wire near the shed. A loud clang as metal struck metal. Not dangerous, just loud. The hunter jumped, his weapon swinging toward the noise. Tae-sung was already moving. He slipped out his back door, staying in the shadows. His rifle was loaded with rubber bullets. Non-lethal. He didn't want to kill anyone if he could help it. The second hunter was checking the perimeter of the main cabin. He never saw Tae-sung come up behind him. A quick strike with the rifle butt to the back of the head. The hunter dropped. Unconscious. 1 down, 2 to go. The other 2 realized something was wrong. Kang? Report. One whispered into his radio. No response. Kang was the one unconscious behind the cabin. We got a problem. The second hunter said. His name was Taemin. Tae-sung had seen his face in the truck earlier. Young guy. Maybe 25. Trying to make money the easy way. And the third hunter was older, bigger. He carried himself like someone who had done this many times before. His name was Il-sung, according to the brief radio chatter. He took out Kang, Il-sung said calmly. Means he's mobile. Not hiding inside like expected. What do? We adapt, fan out, watch each other's backs. Good tactical thinking. But Tae-sung had spent 20 years training for situations exactly like this. These hunters were good. He was better. He moved silently to his next position. A spot behind his water collection barrel. Good cover. Clear line of sight to the workshop. Il-sung was advancing toward the workshop door. He raised his weapon. Come out, dragon. We're not here to hurt you. Just taking you into custody. Lies. Bounty hunters didn't do careful custody transfers. They usually drugged their targets or used shock weapons. Whatever was easiest. Hana's voice came from inside. I won't go. You don't have a choice. Tae-sung fired. The rubber bullet hit Il-sung's weapon, knocking it from his hands. The hunter yelled in pain and surprise. She said no. Tae-sung called out from his position. Il-sung dove for cover behind a storage crate. Taemin opened fire blindly toward where Tae-sung's voice had come from. Real bullets. Not rubber. These hunters were playing for keeps. Bullets sparked off the metal barrel. Tae-sung was already gone, moved to a new position. Tae-sung, Hana called out. Are you hurt? Stay inside, he shouted back. He pulled a flashbang from his vest. Old military equipment. He counted 3 seconds, then threw it toward Taemin's position. The explosion of light and sound was devastating in the darkness. Taemin screamed, clutching his eyes and ears. 2 down, 1 to go. But Il-sung was smart. He hadn't watched the flashbang. He had turned away at the last second, protecting his senses. Now he was moving, using the chaos to relocate. "You're good," Il-sung called out. "Former military?" "Something like that," Tae-sung replied. He was already moving again. "Never stay in one place after you speak. This doesn't have to be complicated. We just want the dragon. You walk away. You keep your life. Everyone's happy. Nobody's taking her. She's not worth dying for. That's my decision, not yours." Il-sung appeared from behind the cabin. He had circled around. Smart move. He raised his weapon toward the workshop. Tae-sung fired twice. Both rubber bullets hit Il-sung in the leg. The hunter went down hard, cursing. "That's all of them," Tae-sung said quietly. He approached carefully, rifle ready. Taemin was still disoriented from the flashbang. Il-sung was trying to stand, but his leg wouldn't cooperate. Kang was still unconscious. Tae-sung collected their weapons. 3 rifles, 2 pistols, a shock baton. He threw them all in a pile far from the hunters. "You made a mistake coming here," Tae-sung said. Il-sung looked up at him with a mixture of pain and respect. "You're serious about protecting that thing. She's not a thing. She's a kid. And yeah, I'm serious. There's money. Good money. We could split it. You help us load her. We all profit. Not interested. Then you're stupid. More will come. Word is out. There's a Drakai here. Unprotected. Easy money." Tae-sung's heart sank. He had known this was a possibility, but hearing it confirmed made it real. This wasn't going to end with 3 bounty hunters. "Get off my property," Tae-sung said. "Tell whoever hired you that this target isn't worth it." Il-sung laughed, then winced from the pain in his leg. "You can't fight everyone. Eventually you'll slip up. And when you do, someone will claim that bounty." Tae-sung helped them to their feet. Not gently. He watched as they limped back to their trucks. Tae-min needed help from the others. Kang had a massive headache, but was walking. The trucks left, but Tae-sung knew they'd be back. Or others would come. He returned to the workshop. Hana was standing just inside the door, her eyes wide. "You're hurt," she said. Tae-sung looked down. Blood on his arm. One of the bullets had grazed him. He hadn't even felt it during the fight. Adrenaline. "It's nothing. It's not nothing." Hana moved forward. "Sit down. I'll get medical supplies. I can. Sit down." Her voice had authority. Tae-sung was surprised. He sat. Hana went into the cabin and came back with the first aid kit. Her hands were shaking slightly, but she worked carefully, cleaning the wound, applying antibacterial gel, wrapping it with bandage. "Where did you learn medical care?" Tae-sung asked. "My mother. She was a healer in our clan. Before," she didn't finish the sentence. "Before she died." "Yes." They sat in silence while she worked. When she was done, she sat back and looked at him. Really looked at him. "Why?" she asked. "You could have died tonight. For me. Why?" "I told you before. No. I want the real answer. Not the polite one. Not the guilt about Kepler-7. The real reason." Tae-sung was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was tired. Honest. Because somebody has to care. Somebody has to say enough. Enough killing. Enough hate. Enough seeing people as enemies instead of just people. He looked at her. "You're a kid who lost everything. I'm a man who did terrible things. Maybe neither of us can fix the past. But we can choose what happens next. And you choose this? Danger? Fighting? I choose to protect someone who needs protecting. That's all. Hana's eyes were wet, not crying, but close. Humans are strange. Yeah, we are. Some of you are monsters. But some of you are. She struggled to find the word. Kind. Impossibly kind. That's just humans. We're extremes. The best and worst all mixed together. Outside, dawn was breaking. The settlement was waking up. Taesung knew people would hear about last night. News traveled fast in small colonies. His communication terminal beeped. A message from Jiwoo. 2 days out. Hold on. Help is coming. 2 more days. Could they survive 2 more days? Taesung looked at Hana. She was exhausted, scared, but also determined. She wasn't running. She was staying, fighting alongside him in her own way. Get some sleep, he told her. I'll keep watch. You need sleep too. I'll sleep later. Go on. Hana hesitated, then nodded. She went into the workshop and lay down on the makeshift bed Taesung had made for her. Taesung sat on his porch, rifle across his lap. His arm hurt where the bullet had grazed him. His body was tired. He wasn't as young as he used to be. Fighting like that took a toll, but he also felt something else. Something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. For 3 years since leaving the military, he had drifted. Existing but not really living. Working but not really caring. Now he had a reason to fight. A reason to hold on. Not redemption. That was too big a word. But maybe a step toward it. Around midday, Officer Dae-hyun's vehicle appeared. He got out slowly. His face serious. I heard about last night, he said. Yeah, 3 bounty hunters in the clinic. Bruised, battered, but alive. They're claiming self-defense. Said you attacked them. That's a lie. I know. I checked the property. Saw your defensive positions. Saw where they approached. It's clear they came to you. Not the other way around. So what now? Now I have a problem. Officially, they have legal rights to attempt capture of unregistered dangerous aliens. Officially, you assaulted them while they were performing legal duties. And unofficially? Dae-hyun almost smiled. Unofficially, I think they got exactly what they deserved. But Taesung, this can't continue. More will come. You can't fight them all. I know. My 48 hours are up. I should be arresting you and taking the dragon into custody right now. Are you? Dae-hyun was quiet for a moment. Then he shook his head. I'll give you until tomorrow morning. That's all I can do. After that, if you're still here with her, I'll have no choice. Why the extra time? Because maybe you're right. Maybe she's just a scared kid. And maybe the law isn't always the same as what's right. Dae-hyun turned to leave, then stopped. There's talk in the settlement. People are dividing. Some think you're crazy. Some think you're brave. Either way, things are going to get worse before they get better. I know. After Dae-hyun left, Taesung sat and thought. Could they make it? He looked at the workshop where Hana slept. A young dragon who trusted him, who believed in him. He had to make it. Failure wasn't an option. Dawn arrived cold and gray. Taesung hadn't slept all night. He stood on his porch, watching the settlement wake up. In the distance, he could see vehicles gathering. More than yesterday. Many more. Hana came out of the workshop. Her wings were tucked tight against her back. She looked scared but trying to hide it. They're coming, she said quietly. Yeah. How many? Looks like the whole colonial security force. Plus, Governor Sang-woo's vehicle. This is official now. I should run. Where? They'll track you. Hunt you. At least here you have me. One human against all of them? Taesung smiled slightly. Not just any human. The vehicles approached slowly. Deliberate. They stopped 50 meters from the cabin. Doors opened. Colonial security officers stepped out, rifles ready but not aimed. In the center, Governor Sang-woo emerged from his vehicle. Tall man, expensive suit, political face. Behind the security vehicles, more colonists gathered. Taesung counted at least 40 people. Some looked angry. Some looked curious. Some looked uncertain. Officer Dae-hyun stepped forward first. His face was professional, but his eyes were apologetic. Tae-sung, he called out. This is your last chance. Surrender the Drakai. Come peacefully. We can work this out. No. Governor Sang-woo pushed forward. Mr. Tae-sung, I understand you're a veteran. You've served humanity well. But this is beyond your authority. That creature is classified as potentially dangerous. Colonial law requires its immediate custody. She's a refugee. She has rights under the Galactic Accord. Those rights are being evaluated. Until then, she must be held in secure facilities. No. Sang-woo's face hardened. You're making this very difficult. I have authority to use force, if necessary. Then use it. But you'll have to go through me first. The governor looked annoyed, frustrated. You're one man. You can't possibly think. He's not alone. Everyone turned. Officer Dae-hyun had spoken. He stepped forward, moving to stand beside Tae-sung's porch. What are you doing? Sang-woo demanded. My job. Protecting people who need protecting. Dae-hyun looked at the other security officers. I've reviewed the case. The Drakai is a minor. A refugee. She hasn't broken any laws. Taking her into custody without proper documentation violates Galactic Accord Article 7. That's not your determination to make, Sang-woo said angrily. It's exactly my determination to make. I'm chief security officer for this settlement. Another voice called out from the crowd. He's not alone either. A woman pushed through. Unji. The schoolteacher Tae-sung had seen around the settlement. She was small, but her voice was strong. I've been watching this situation, Unji said. And I'm ashamed. We call ourselves civilized, but we're acting like the same bigots who started the wars in the first place. This doesn't concern you, Sang-woo said. It concerns all of us. How we treat the vulnerable shows who we are. Another person stepped forward, Hyun-woo, the mechanic Tae-sung had worked with. Older man, with gray hair and strong hands. I fought in the war too, Hyun-woo said. Lost friends to Drakai weapons. But I also lost friends to our own stupidity, to following orders we knew were wrong. He looked at Tae-sung. Maybe it's time we stopped repeating mistakes. One by one, people began stepping forward. Not everyone, but enough. They formed a line between the security forces and Tae-sung's cabin, human shields. Willing volunteers standing against their own government. Governor Sang-woo looked shocked. You're all willing to break the law for a dragon? We're willing to stand for what's right, Yoon-ji said simply. Kyung-min pushed through the crowd. His face was red with anger. This is insane. That thing's people killed my brother, and the war killed my son, Hyun-woo said quietly. But your brother and my son are dead. This girl is alive. Killing her or imprisoning her won't bring them back. It's justice. No. The standoff continued. Sang-woo looked frustrated, angry, but also uncertain. He couldn't order his security forces to attack citizens. That would be a disaster. This is your last warning, the governor said. All of you. Step aside or face charges. Nobody moved. Tae-sung felt something strange in his chest. Hope. Real hope. He wasn't alone anymore. Hana stood beside him now. She looked at the humans, protecting her, with wonder in her eyes. I don't understand, she whispered. Why do they help me? Because humans are complicated, Tae-sung said. We do terrible things, but sometimes we do incredible things too. Then they heard it. A sound from above. Growing. Louder. Everyone looked up. A ship was descending. Not a colonial vessel. Military design. Terran Diplomatic Corps. Insignia on the hull. The ship landed in the open field beside the settlement. The hatch opened. Captain Ji-woo stepped out, her uniform crisp and official. Behind her, 3 Drakai emerged. Hana gasped. Aunt Sora, one of the Drakai, older with silver-tinted scales, saw Hana and cried out. She ran forward. Hana ran to meet her. They collided in an embrace. The older dragon wrapped her wings around Hana, making sounds of relief and joy. Hana was crying, real tears running down her scaled face. Captain Ji-woo approached Governor Sang-woo. She handed him a datapad. Official documentation. Hana is registered as a refugee under treaty protection. She has full legal status. Any attempt to detain her violates interstellar law. Sang-woo read the document, his face growing darker. This was approved 3 days ago. Correct. We would have been here sooner, but bureaucracy is slow. Ji-woo looked at Tae-sung and allowed herself a small smile. Good thing someone was willing to stall. The aunt, Sora, approached Tae-sung. She was large, impressive. Her scales shimmered in the morning light. When she spoke, her voice was deep but gentle. You protected my niece. Yes, ma'am. Why? Because she needed help. Sora studied him for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She bowed. A deep, formal Drakai bow that showed respect and gratitude. You have given me back family I thought was lost. I am in your debt. Tae-sung felt uncomfortable. No debt. I just did what was right. Perhaps, but among my people, such actions are not forgotten. She looked at Hana. You will come home now? Hana looked torn. She glanced at Tae-sung, at the cabin, at the humans who had stood up for her. Can I stay? She asked. Just a little longer? There's more I want to learn here. Sora looked surprised. Stay? Among humans? This human showed me kindness when no one else would. These humans defended me against their own leaders. I want to understand them better. Oh. Sora and the other Drakai conferred quietly in their own language. Finally, Sora nodded. If you wish, but you will check in regularly. And if there is trouble, there won't be, Ji-woo said. I'm assigning this settlement as an official human Drakai cooperation zone. We'll have regular diplomatic oversight. Hana can serve as a cultural liaison if she wishes. Sang-woo looked like he wanted to protest, but he was trapped. Official treaty. Military backing. Citizens supporting it. He had lost. This isn't over, he said quietly, but he knew it was. The crowd began to disperse. Some people left angry, but others stayed, curious about the Drakai visitors. Cautious conversation started. Small steps toward understanding. Tae-sung sat down on his porch steps. Suddenly, he felt exhausted. All the adrenaline, all the stress of the past days crashed over him. Hana sat beside him. You look tired. I am tired. You should rest. In a minute, they sat in comfortable silence. Ji-woo approached and sat on Tae-sung's other side. You're insane, she said. You know that, right? Taking on bounty hunters. Facing down the governor. You could have been killed. Yeah. Why do it? You know why. You read my file. You know about Kepler 7. Guilt doesn't explain standing against armed men. It wasn't guilt. Not entirely. Tae-sung looked at Hana. She reminded me that people matter more than politics, more than old wars, more than fear. Ji-woo nodded slowly. Well, your insanity paid off. This settlement is going to become a model for human-Drakai relations. Whether they like it or not. What about the people who still hate dragons? They'll have to learn. Or leave. Progress doesn't wait for everyone to agree. Ji-woo stood up. I'll be back in a week to set up the formal cooperation program. Until then, keep things calm. I'll try. After Ji-woo left, Tae-sung and Hana sat and watched the sun climb higher. The settlement was returning to normal. People going about their work. But something had changed. Something fundamental. What happens now? Hana asked. Now? You heal. Your wings are getting stronger with good food. In a few weeks, you'll be able to fly again. And then? Then you decide. Stay here. Go back to your clan. Whatever you want. What do you want? Tae-sung thought about it. I want you to be safe. And happy. And free. To choose your own path. Tae-sung. 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 You're strange for a human. Yeah. So I've been told. Over the next weeks, something remarkable happened. Hana began working as a liaison between the settlement and visiting Drakai. She taught humans about her culture. She learned more about human ways. Tae-sung's cabin became a gathering place. Humans and Drakai meeting, talking, trading, building understanding. One conversation at a time. Not everyone participated. Kyungmin and some others refused to accept it. But they were outnumbered by people willing to try. Hyunwoo started teaching Drakai mechanics human technology. Eun-ji started a program where Drakai and human children could meet safely, supervised, learning about each other. Officer Dae-hyun was promoted for his handling of the situation. He became the official liaison for security matters involving both species. 6 months passed. Hana's wings healed completely. She could fly again. Long, graceful flights over the settlement. Sometimes, human children would watch and cheer. One evening, she landed on Tae-sung's porch. He was sitting with his pipe, watching the sunset. I'm thinking about going back to my clan, she said. Just for a visit. That's good. You should see them. Will you be all right without me? I survived 42 years before you showed up. I think I'll manage. She smiled. You're not as tough as you pretend. Maybe not. Thank you, Hana said seriously. For everything. For opening your door. For protecting me. For showing me that not all humans are enemies. Thank you for reminding me that not all dragons are either. She flew away the next morning. Tae-sung watched her go, feeling a strange mix of pride and sadness. But she came back 2 weeks later, and she kept coming back. The cabin became her second home. The settlement became a place where two species learned to coexist. It wasn't perfect. There were still tensions, still people who hated, still problems to solve, but it was better. One small colony, one scared dragon, one tired veteran. Together they had started something that spread outward. Other settlements heard the story. Other people began to think differently. Wars ended one person at a time. Peace began the same way. Years later, when people asked Tae-sung why he did it, he always gave the same answer. She was hungry. And I had food. Everything else just followed from that. Simple. True. Human. One cold night, a homeless dragon teen had said, I'm not dangerous, just hungry. And a human veteran had opened his door. That was all it took to change the world.